What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to episode 11 of the ForgeServ Let's Play series. In between episodes, I've been trying to do a lot of stuff. I've had friends pretty much over every day of the week this week, so it's been kind of hard to record because as much as they would be wonderful to have on the video series, I don't know, I feel weird. I feel like I'm ignoring my guest whenever whenever I play with them here. So it feels just kind of rude to me to just sit around and play games while they're just here hanging out. So I haven't really had a chance to record, but I have been working on some stuff in between. So I, first of all, changed a lot of these out for the signalum-plated impulse item ducts. So what these do is allow for faster item transport and also deliver power to our redstone furnaces here. That way, we can actually get everything done with less chaos and destruction as far as our infrastructure here goes. So it's definitely a much nicer setup that we have now. And now we have smelting, and I did the same thing over here for just our crushing. So for example, you can see here, if I just toss these two in, they should get impulse item ducted now. I did change these to impulse as well, so it's much, much faster, as you can see. And there you go. So it'll actually get over to the furnaces very quickly, as you can tell. So we're still doing round robin, but at this point we should actually get 2 going to each one of these redstone furnaces, which is exactly what I wanted. And they should zip over into this chest pretty quickly as well, which is optimal. In fact, this is pretty much perfect for me. So that's pretty much the biggest thing that I did in between episodes. I think I also re-dyed my drill before the end of last episode, so that's new as well. I just wanted it to match the rest of my other tools, to be honest. That was literally it. So, this episode, I actually have some pretty cool stuff planned. I've been using a lot of enchantments lately, and I'm still not completely happy with where I am with some of these enchantments. I have gotten a few books from some friends on the server. And, oh hey, look, Theokill's on. But I have gotten a few things from friends on the server. So, for example, I now have sharpness 6 on my sword. Was not particularly worth it, but I do have it now, so that is nice. But I made a lens of disenchanting in between episodes because I would like very much to get another atomic reconstructor and go ahead and have a disenchanting setup for things that we might get from fishing nets that I want to also set up this episode because I have 5 empowered emeradic crystals left and they're not difficult to make. So let's start off with making yet another atomic reconstructor. So for that we're going to need 4 more iron that we need to turn into plates. And then we need a piece of black quartz. And some treated sticks, which I don't believe I have any, so we'll just make some from here. But I thought I grabbed 2. And now we just need 4 iron and 4 redstone. So the last thing, 2 things actually that I need. First one is we need to get a pressure plate and some of the other normal things that we usually have. And redstone, and we've got those together now. Good to go, good to go. And now we also need to get power over here, and that's kind of getting a little bit tricky, to be honest with you. We're kind of running out of convenient ways of transporting our power around. So why don't we quickly take an aside to look into a power cell system? So power cells are actually not particularly difficult to make, so we can go ahead and make 2 of these real quick. It's just going to require a little bit of gold and a little bit of lapis after all. Not much of anything, really. And then we're going to need 4 redstone blocks, 4 prismarine. I don't have any prismarine, but I do have an atomic reconstructor, which is exactly why I love having actual additions. And actually, yeah, okay. So, if we take a look at what's left, I think I actually need 8 redstone blocks. And then was that a diamond and an emerald per recipe, right? diamond, emerald. So this should get us 2 power cells. I also need 2 power cell link cards. So we can just grab another gold and what else is it? Redstone. We need 8 more redstone and 2 pieces of paper. Do I have any paper around? Nope. Alright, then we'll just make paper. There we go. And so now, let me just toss this over here in my junk storage. By the way, I am kind of sorting all these, by the way, with the ones that have multiple pages. So for example, page 1 here is wood-ish materials, and page 2 is like pretty much everything else, anything that's like a stone type material. And then this one, page 1 is the junky miscellaneous blocks, and then page 2 is the nice miscellaneous blocks that are actually reasonable to build with. Page 1 is mod stuff, page 2 is tool stuff. Page 1 is organics, page 2 is just junk. So I am actually using some method of organization here. So why don't we hop downstairs and tap into our power infrastructure here. If I'm not using the bottom, it would be wise to use the bottom. And then just tell it, and we'll just input on all sides. And tell this guy, first of all, we do want to do that. There we go, link ID 6 and link ID 6. It seems like other people are using power cells, so that's great. And then, let's see, I can actually disable this side just for the fun of it, just so that it looks nice. And then we'll just tell the, first of all, yeah, link ID 6. And then now we just tell the bottom of this to output. And so now, this guy is going to fill very quickly. This guy is going to probably drain pretty quickly, I'm betting. At some point, surely. Are you not? And now that we have that, we can easily hook up power essentially anywhere. And this is why I wanted that, is because I would like to put a setup in here for disenchanting with all my disenchanting stuff, but I'm kind of getting tired of running conduit everywhere. So that is going to give us power. We can tell all sides to output. We can put our atomic reconstructor down. It'll get crystal flux, change it to pulse mode, put a lens of disenchanting on it, and put a pressure plate on top. And now, just as easily as that, we can take stuff like all of this wonderful equipment. And I'm going to bring probably most of these books over. And now we can do stuff like, this is actually going to be really tricky now, but not as bad as it used to be, I guess. So now we can sit here and disenchant all these books. Alright, so now that that is all said and done, what we can do is look into our next step of action today. So I'm going to make, like in my single player series that we did a long time ago, because we kind of stopped paying too much attention to this specific setup. It was a set and forget setup for sure. We'll make some fishing nets. Now, these don't extract or output to just any system, so we will have to be pretty particular with what we put them on. But this will be something that we can have just as a extra sort of level of, I guess you could say, like an extra level of income for enchanted items and stuff. Now, I forgot that these were kind of picky to place, so I might have to borrow a few pieces of grass real quick. Let me go get that. Alright, and so now we can do that, and I'm thinking I will probably just end up doing something kind of like this. That way, I could actually put a fifth one down. Maybe we will do that. Whoops. did have enough to make a 5th one. We should do that real quick. Why not? So we'll grab 8 more of these and 1 more of these. Now we are finally using them all up. I'll just leave that there. I need to automate sugarcane at some point. Maybe that's something else we will do today. Oh, yeah, and I suppose that these will need... Oh, server is loading. There we are. Need another chest as well. And there we go. So these are not my favorite visual setup, but they work, and I definitely do like having good free loot. So yeah. Alright, so why don't we do what I was thinking about earlier, now that we have our automatic fishing done, we have some disenchanting done, why don't I finally make some automatic farming? I still haven't gotten around to doing this yet, so why don't we? I mean, it's about time, huh? So we'll need, I'm going to make 16, I think, of these block breakers, and I'm just going to do auto breakers for these because I think it would probably be the easiest. So we'll grab a few varieties of things, that way we can very easily just toss this all here and get it done. There we go. And now we can go ahead and get ourselves those, and I just need about a stack of stuff there. Maybe 2 stacks of stuff here. And there we go. So, I'm going to need some sand and possibly some cactus. Did I ever grab any cactus? I did not. So let me see if someone would be so kind to give me some cactus. We'll see what he says. Cool. Well, we're in the clear, so let's go over to his place and grab some cactus. And that's all I needed. I'm going to do 8 of these auto breakers for cactus and 8 of these auto breakers for sugarcane. And so now, all I need is my sugarcane. And we need a way of getting them there. Now, we have a few different options, but I think what would be one of the cooler ones, honestly, is if we did item relays. Just because it would be neat to just do something completely with actually additions, but I'm not particularly sure kind of how we would do that. So we would have to figure out, if I had one of these, we would need, let's see, there is, in actually additions, there is, what am I looking for? It's a phantom interface, isn't there? Hopping item interface, here we go. So we need an item interface, which is just more black quartz, and let me see. You know, actually, this is not the best bet. I was thinking about it, and this is not particularly ideal for us. What we can do instead, though, this is something that, oops, I actually did need those. What we can do instead, though, that would be pretty cool, is if we used our item ducts here. And then we took, let's see, we have a few, but not many. We can go ahead and make some more of these normal item ducts. I could make them impulse if I wanted, but that's really just a waste of glowstone. We don't really need them to be impulse. And I'm actually honestly going to need probably more than that. We'll make 6 more, or 3 sets more. And this is one of the cool things about thermodynamics is that if we look at thermal retriever, we can actually pull items instead of just having to push them all the time. So we'll go ahead and make one of the reinforced retriever. So that's going to be an eye of ender, 2 iron nuggets. Do I happen to have 2 iron nuggets? I do indeed. A piece of glass. And an eye of ender, which I think I can actually totally afford. Why don't I go and pulverize this, though? Be completely efficient with our resources here. There we go. So we'll just take that, and now we can make that. So the Resonant Retriever, as you can see, says pulls instead of pushes. So it'll pull distant items, and that way we can, instead of having to have a lot of servos, we can actually just pull them. So it'll be a lot easier this way, and a lot more automatable. So we also, I think, would be really cool to do this with some glass. Maybe even do it somewhere out here underneath our farm, perhaps? I don't actually know. Well, I'm also curious if these have gotten us anything yet. Where should we put this then? I don't actually even know. I guess I can find out for him. Alright, so where are we even going to put this guy? I don't even know where we should put this. It's going to be kind of a clunky and big setup, so I feel like it definitely deserves a reasonable amount of space to do, but I don't particularly know where is a good place to do it. Maybe, well, we could always do it down here. I mean, I guess that's kind of okay. So what we could do is, if it's 16 of these, then let's see, we'll replace that. And so what we can do is we can just have a 5 by 5 window here. And there we go. So what we'll do now is we will just dig down. Whoops. Not down far enough, I guess. And so I'm just going to dig out a little room here. It'll probably be about 9 blocks by 9 blocks, I think would be proper. Alright, so now that this is pretty much a finished room, I kind of don't know what the design is supposed to be based off of. I just really like the color scheme of the blue and the purple. And the water, I know the water's not necessary for every single one of these blocks, but I thought it would be fun to have it there anyways. So we can go ahead and start planting our crops here. And now what we can do is lay out our our conduit network first. That way we actually have a surface to place up against. See, I have a plan. So we're going to need to put our conduits kind of in a spaghetti-ish fashion. So this might not have been the best layout. But we'll make it work. And this also is not high enough up, so let me handle that as well. So I think this should work. Now all we need is a bunch of block breakers. Now these are set to redstone deactivated, which is perfectly fine. They can keep running to their heart's desire as much as they'd like. In fact, that would be preferred. And there we go. So now that all of these are completely hooked up, if something did grow, which we can actually make that happen. Oops. So if something grew, you can see that it is very quickly getting broken. So, with that underway, now we just need a place to put it all. So let me take a nap real quick, because it is dangerous to go alone. And we can have our retriever all the way up here, somewhere on a chest, possibly. So why don't I do that? We can blink. And you know what? Why don't we make a drawer for this? So we'll get a drawer. And we'll make a double, let's see, a double-chested drawer. So that'll be 2 chests and a few pieces of wood. We'll just go ahead and do one of the dark oak drawers. Let's see. There we go. Did I not grab enough? I did not. Oops. There we go. And we will also want to get a void upgrade for this drawer. So for that, we'll have to sacrifice... Oh, this recipe changed a lot. Goodness. That is suddenly substantially harder than it used to be. But that's okay. It's still just a little bit of gold. Or a little bit of obsidian, rather. So we can grab some sticks. And turn these into upgrades. And now, we can actually store stuff in them. So what we can do is, more than likely, I'm thinking that we would just put them, well, heck, I don't know. We could put them Probably here, to be honest. This seems like a relatively decent place to put this. But I don't know. I don't know. This is going to bother me if I can't figure this out. Maybe I'll put them actually in the house and just route everything over. I don't think that would be the worst thing I could possibly do. So we'll put them here with the upgrades here. And maybe, just maybe, this won't freak everything out because of chunk borders. But I have a hunch that it will. So between you and me, I'm not expecting this to work for very long. But if it does, great. That was not what I expected to do. So we can use our mini-map to help us out here. To know when we're more or less, there we go. Almost got right underneath it. Not completely perfect, but that's okay. And now we can just run our conduits, or rather our item ducts. Now it seems like we are going to be running short, so let me grab just a few more. Have I got any by chance? I've got a few of these opaque ones. I guess we can just use the opaque ones. I don't suppose it really... Well, because now my OCD is going to bother me if they're not all transparent. We'll see how long this continues to work for, because right now, of course, there's a lot of really annoying bugs with chunk borders, so I honestly don't expect this to work, but if it does, then great. So you can pull redstone ignored, blacklist, empty blacklist is fine, and it should technically just pull straight to this. I don't think nearest first particularly matters. And there you go. You can see that my items are getting pulled and getting shot on over. It'll take quite a while, but that's okay, because if this is consistent or continuous, then it doesn't really matter how slow or fast it is, as long as we get it at some point. There we go. We're getting our sugarcane in now. So I think that's going to call it an episode for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and, you know, we did get a decent amount of stuff done, so hopefully in between episodes, some of the stuff will stay loaded and everything will continue to work out, and I will probably end up pulling up all this sugarcane as well, since we don't even need it anymore, and it's definitely, I think this is kind of a cool little thing to have at the bottom of a lake. That's just me. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and I will see you guys in the next episode, and hopefully by then we can maybe get into some digital storage, perhaps. We are making a decent amount of power after all. Alright, well, I'll see you then.